Hello. It's late rainy night, November 1st, in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I came home from my meeting tonight. My day was so boring, I'm not even gonna relive it for you guys. I mean, I didn't really do anything exciting today, but I went to my meeting tonight, and it was like 5 of us. It's a candlelight meeting. It just like felt, I don't know, it reminded me of like early days of sobriety, like, you know, in church basements and people smoking cigarettes in church basements, which I look back on, I think is so strange. And just the best coffee in the world. I don't know why coffee is so good when you first get sober, but it just is. Like meeting coffee, I can't even explain to you, is like so bad it's good. It's just like regular coffee. I mean, it's always just like, I mean, there's not like a brand of coffee. It's like whatever place is there, you know, like Folgers or whatever they buy. But there's just something about having coffee at a 12-step meeting. I don't know how to explain it, you know? And it's kind of like, in a weird way, kind of like a spiritual experience, you know? To have coffee in a styrofoam cup at a meeting, and I don't know, it's just weird. Tonight reminded me kind of those old days, and partly because there was a newcomer in our meeting tonight, and it just was us just, you know, sharing our experience of getting sober and those first early days. And I can remember like leaving meetings and just feeling like what other people must feel like when they leave church. Just full of like life and hope, you know? And so anyway, I came home, I was like texting Alex, and he was like all caught up in the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And then like, I was so hungry, I had not eaten all day, and I really wanted like a bagel sandwich from Einstein's, but of course at 11 o'clock at night, Einstein's is closed. So I went to the grocery store, and I got, it is like really warm outside tonight. It is like 59 degrees, which doesn't sound warm, but like it's shot up because earlier today it was like 42, 43, like when I was going to work. But anyway, I went to the grocery store and I got bagels, and I got these, oh my God, these amazing everything bagels. I don't know what brand they are. I'll show you on here, but they are like, I'll show you tomorrow. They are so good, you guys. And they're like real low cal, high protein. I just grabbed them because they looked good. And they were like some brand that like, I don't know, but it was just, they're very good. And, super fresh. Like bagels sometimes cannot be real fresh, you know? And I got this garlic and chive cream cheese, and then I got Havarti cheese, and then I got red onions, and so I made a sandwich out of all of that. And then so I cooked tonight, and then what did I do? Oh, then I have potato chips, which I shouldn't have. Potato salad, which I shouldn't have. And I got some of that Laughing Cow cheese with these Triscuits that my friend Paul and I used to eat all the time with them. We would eat those rosemary and chive Triscuits. Or not rosemary and chive. Rosemary and, is it oregano? I can't remember. Rosemary and something, but they are so good, you guys. Triscuits, they're fantastic. They're like my favorite Triscuits in the entire world. Am I talking about Triscuits? Do you care? But anyway, I was laying there in bed because I was like, I told Alex after I ate, I was watching the Real Housewives of Dallas with him, and I said, I'm gonna lay down for like a half an hour, and he goes, you always say that, babe, when you like lay down with me, but then you like wake up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I know, but I meant to film my vlog when I was on the way back from my meeting, but I didn't, and I still give me an excuse to go out later anyway, because I've got to get Carlitos a birthday card, because it's our nephew's birthday tomorrow. He's 5 years old, and we're going to Chuck E. Cheese. I can't wait. No, seriously, I can't wait for a piece of pizza. Pizza. But anyway, so I haven't been to Chuck E. Cheese and I cannot tell you how long. But we, so then he came up to bed and we were like talking for a little bit, and the next thing you know, I woke up and I was like in this really deep dream, and my dad was explaining to me this Barbara Stanwyck movie about two people that read their wills. They're like fighting over the will or something. It was this very interesting discussion we were having. What is the deal here with my windshield wiper? It was a very interesting dream I had about this Barbara Stanwyck movie. So of course I wake up and I'm like, is like some spirit coming through my dreams trying to tell me? I mean, this is truly how I think, okay? I'm like, is some spirit trying to tell me something through this Barbara Stanwyck movie? Which is this what Barbara Stanwyck movie is this, right? And so I'm like reading the caption of each Barbara Stanwyck movie, which the only Barbara Stanwyck movie that I really know is Sorry, Wrong Number, which is like legit one of my favorite movies of life. If you've never seen it, I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but I couldn't find it, but then I found all these movies that I wanted to see in it. So there was no hidden message from the spirit life to me through a Barbara Stanwyck movie, but that's not really the point. I like to think that maybe that's possible, okay? So anyway, I've been dying to go to a psychic now forever, you guys. I want like a real reading from a real psychic, and I know as soon as I say that, people are like shaking their heads. They're like, a real psychic? Yes, I believe there are real psychics out there. That's just my belief. You don't have to believe that, just like you don't have to believe that there is no Loch Ness Monster, but I choose to believe that Nessie lives out there. So that's just how it is. Anyway, I like to see the world as a very big place, you know, that all is possible, even Santa Claus. I like to think that, I have a bottle of water back here somewhere. I like to think that even Santa Claus is possible. So anyway, there was this movie years ago with Jacqueline Smith from Charlie's Angels, and it was, I can't remember what it's called. I have it recorded on a VCR tape somewhere, but it's where like her husband works for this company and they're like drilling oil, and she and her kids get taken to the North Pole because they have to convince her husband to stop drilling oil, and so she gets to meet Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus and all. Did you ever see that? I like so forever wish that that would really happen to me, and that like in my adult life that Santa Claus would come. There's also a John Denver movie that's very similar, but that Santa Claus would come and like take me back to the North Pole just to prove to me that Santa Claus really did exist. Because I believe that if Santa Claus really did exist, then so did everything that went along with Santa Claus. And I know that Christmas has nothing to do with Santa Claus. Yes, I know all that. So anyway, we don't need to get into that discussion. Not today. It's November 1st. But anyway, so, but I was thinking about like, and I'm tired, you guys. It is really late. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was listening to my audiobook before I recorded this, so I'm not going to record a whole bunch, but I was sitting here. This car is like coming so far up to me. Do you see it? Can you see the lights? Turn this light off. Let them pass me by. When people like get that close to me, I'm like, just go around me. So anyway, and then they shoot down the street, and it's like rain-covered street. It's like raining so bad outside. But anyway, I was thinking about like all of the movies that I used to watch when I was a kid, because so I loved old movies, like old thrillers when I was a kid. I equally love, like, even though I grew up in this era, the adventure movies of the 80s, like Romancing the Stone. Those movies really defined who I was and how I viewed the world. I always wanted to go on an adventure, I would say. And I always dreamed I'd like wake up and something crazy would happen, you know, and I'd be on like this adventure and people would be chasing me. Like, I can remember telling people that. I had a counselor when I was like, I don't know, like 14 or 15, and I said, I think 14 or 13 actually probably, and I remember saying something to her about like wanting to like go on an adventure and being chased by scary people or whatever. And she was like, I think that's very odd. So you dream of being chased. I'm like, whatever. So anyway, I think that's very odd. I think it means I wanted to escape out of my bore-ass childhood with my alcoholic mother, and not being understood by my friends and peers at the time is probably more an accurate evaluation of what was going on. But anyway, I loved those movies like Ruthless People, Romancing the Stone, Outrageous Fortune, Adventures in Babysitting, That may have come later. I mean, I'm trying to think of all of them, but like anything like that I loved, you know? Nadine was this one movie that nobody ever knows when I'm talking about it, but I loved it. Did you guys ever see the movie Under the Rainbow? That was like associated with the film. It was like a true story kind of retelling with Chevy Chase of Fletch. I love Fletch in those movies. But anyway, when I was growing up and I was younger, my mom, because my mom had grown up on them, would always show me like the Alfred Hitchcock movies and, you know, the Thin Man series and Arsenic and Old Lace and all of those movies that had kind of at one time been like radio thrillers that they turned into movies a lot of times. I've seen every Alfred Hitchcock movie and I love them all. And it's interesting, like, I haven't ever seen them as, like, studying them for, like, any kind of film class or anything. My mom just showed them to me because she loved them. And when she was younger, my mom wanted to be a costume designer. And Edith Head was the big costume designer, I think, at Metro-Goldwyn Mayer. And my mom wanted to be Edith Head's assistant. That was, like, her dream career. And so, like, when, like, we would watch these movies, like Rear Window with Grace Kelly, where she would show the gowns, and my mom just would be like, I mean, can you imagine, like, or, you know, like, Gone with the Wind and things like that, and we would just look at these, and so I had an appreciation for costumes at a very young age. It's interesting because I'm doing, the Dream Life Project, my so-called Healthy Life channel. I just started it today, so if you're wanting to do it, you're not behind, go over there, check it out. But I put on there, one of the assignments I had in there was discussing, like, what your childhood dreams were, and I didn't even think about this, but I just remembered, like, it was a huge dream of mine to be a costume designer. And I kind of wonder in retrospect if it wasn't, like, because my mom had that dream, or because I really wanted to be a costume designer, but I really wanted to be a costume designer, like, really bad. Like, I got books on it from the library, and I got books for Christmas on it, and I learned how to sew from a pattern. It's how I originally learned how to start sewing. I then wanted to be a fashion designer. I didn't put that on the list either. That's interesting that I didn't put that on the list. I also wanted to be a professional tennis player at one point. I didn't put that on the list either. It's weird when you think about that, isn't it? Like the things that I didn't put on there. I wonder why, if I've forgotten my dreams. But anyway, we used to religiously watch those movies, and I can remember, you know, like, going to the movie rental store back in the day, which was this little hole in the wall place, and getting, like, you know, my mom loved Peter Sellers, and we would get, like, A Shot in the Dark and Young Frankenstein, the Gene Wilder movies, and the, you know, back in the day. And there's a fantastic movie with Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner. What is that movie called? Starts with an H. I actually own the VCR. I have it in my office. It's like a pink cover. It's like a play on words. It's like a pun, whatever it is. But it's a mystery, and they're like on the run, of course. Those were the movies that I loved. And they have to discover what this painting means. What is that movie called? I can't remember, but I love it. And so we would watch all those movies back in the day. You know, I loved them all. And Sorry Wrong Number was one of my favorite. And if you've never seen it, it's with Barbara Stanwyck, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's basically like a one-woman show. It was a radio show, and then they turned it into a movie. She did the radio show too. And she's in bed, and she's an invalid, and she's trying to get a hold of her husband because her husband's late from coming home from work, and she's very wealthy, and she's been catered to her entire life, and her husband's not home, and she's very upset. And so she calls the operator, and the operator cuts her into a phone call of somebody trying to kill somebody else. And so she is trying to stop this murder from happening. And it's so scary. It's so like, and Alfred Hitchcock did not direct that, but like, it's of those mysteries that there's so much left to the imagination. And it actually, if you watch the movie fills in a lot of your imagination. Whereas if you listen to it at the radio show, and I just looked on YouTube, you can, the full movie is on YouTube, but you have to slow it down a little bit, playback speed wise, because they have it like fast forwarded. But then the suspense radio show is on there too. It's just like a half an hour, you can listen to it. But if you listen to the suspense radio show, it's almost better to listen to that first, because like, you don't, like in the movie, they show you like a lot, like they explain a lot of the scenes, you know, and the whole idea of back in the day with like Gypsy Rose Lee and all of these movies when they would like put like, you know, like a couple would walk into a hotel room, you know, today we would show them banging on the bed, but back then they'd show like, you know, the man like look out in the hallway and then put a do not disturb sign on the door, and the left was left up to the imagination. And what happened to all of that, you know? It's very much along the lines of like, you know, who did it the best was like 007, you know? The James Bond movies were fantastic for doing that and leaving so much up to the imagination. But we want it all hard. We want it all, you know, raw. It's like I had 2 people reach out to me today. I feel very blessed. It's interesting. Like, I don't talk a lot about this on here because out of protection for these people, but I have a lot of YouTubers, and some of them are quite large, that reach out to me, and it amazes me that people even know who I am, you know? But they'll reach out to me and they'll say like, hey, I saw you critique this person. Like, I would really like to know what you think of my channel or what you think I should do and blah, 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 or, you know, all this kind of stuff, or how to handle this situation. And if you want to figure out who it is that's contacting me, I'll tell you, if there's ever a big controversy and you don't see me make a video about it, chances are they probably reached out to me and asked me how to handle it. Doesn't mean they took my advice. I'm just saying. It doesn't mean that I'm always right, because I am not always right. Listen, you know, I'm just an opinion like everybody else is, and I'm just a YouTube fan like everybody else is. I just love YouTube, you know, and I've watched it for a while. But anyway, 2 up-and-coming YouTubers today contacted me about what to do with their channels, and one of them absolutely listened to me 100%. And listen, and I don't think by any means that I know it all. I don't, okay? But I think that most of you sitting out there on the outside looking in, if I said to you, what do you think I should do with my vlog channel? Or what do you think I should do with my main channel, okay? You guys are the ones that enjoy watching my content. So if I listen to what you have to say, you're probably right. I mean, put a bunch of comments in my comment section tonight about what you think I should change up about my vlog, or, you know, what you think I should change up about my main channel, you know? It was because people commented on the fact that they loved the drama, but they stuck around for the lesson, that I started changing the tune on my drama channel. Because what I realized was that it was fun to do the drama. I love doing the drama. I love looking into that and having an opinion and flipping a fan and being fun. I love all that. I really, really do. But from an integrity point of view, like, I love being a teacher. I just do, you know? And not being a teacher because I know more, but being a teacher based on my own experience, my life experience, you know? And I don't by any means proclaim to know everything, because I just don't. You know, I don't know much. And I think the older you get, the more you realize you don't know very much at all. And it's humbling. But it's also like, I don't know how to say this. It's also like freeing. Because I think for so long, you think you have to know it all, or you think you have to come across like you know everything. And then you realize one day that you don't have to know anything at all, and it's completely fine, you know? So I never go into giving people advice based on like, well, I'm Peter Monn and I think that I know what I'm talking about. I always just go into it with being a fan of YouTube and looking at somebody's videos. And I'll be honest with you, like, a lot of times people reach out to me and I like go watch their channel, and I'm like, I'll be really honest with you, like, I don't connect with your channel at all. I'm probably not the person to ask. And I don't mean that offensively, but what I mean is like, I don't connect with your content. It's not something that I would normally watch. Like, I kind of have to, like, I wouldn't go to a gaming channel and be able to give any kind of advice. I wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about, you know? You have to know what you're good at. And as a fan of YouTube, I love story times, and I love vloggers, and I love just real ass people. That's what I love. And when I see it, I know it, you know? And you can't teach that to somebody. You just can't. It's like common sense. I've said this for years, you know? You can get somebody that has straight A's in high school and college, but you can't teach them a common sense to save their life. I have some of the smartest people I have met in my entire life are so commonsensically dumb that they just can't even figure out how to tie their own damn shoe half the time, you know? And it's so frustrating, because you're like, if you had a lick of common sense, my God, you'd be unbeatable, right? But give me a person with common sense over book smarts any day. I'm sorry. I just, whoo. Have you ever trained somebody that has no common sense? Smartest person in the world. They come to you with great resources, right? No common sense. I mean, it is really hard and really taxing on your mind. When you have to, like, repeat yourself, like, 15 times. Have you guys ever been there? And you know the thing that is that I think that I have tons of common sense, right? But I've been that person before where people are, like, explaining things to me and I just feel like, what? Like, I don't get what you're saying to me. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, but that's what I say. I'll say, like, I don't know what you want me to do. Show it to me and I can repeat it. But, like, you know, yeah. So anyway, then the other person, so this person reached out to me and they're like, what do you think I should do with my channel? And I was like, you know, this is what I see from your channel. This is what I see from you. And this is what I would suggest. You know, if I was like watching your channel and all of a sudden I saw this, I'd be like, oh, wow. Like now he's like really upped it. It's like, you know, the next level. Like I'm really super impressed, right? And then the other person was not so open to the feedback. You know, it was very much like, well, what would you know? And, well, then why did you ask? I'm not offended by that statement, but then why did you ask? Like, why did you ask what my opinion was if you didn't really want to hear it, you know? And it's very interesting to me a lot. You know, it's like, I say this on my main channel a lot. When people say to you, I love you, like I hate the but statement because I think everything after but is bullshit. But like I do love, even though I just did it, but I do love when people say like, I love you, but, and I'll tell you what I do with the statement, okay? I love you, but your vlogs are too long. Let's just say, I never get that. Most people are like, I love you, but your vlogs aren't long enough. But anyway, which is crazy to me because my vlogs are always so damn long. But, and while you're writing the comment that you hate my long vlogs, go read the comments that are already on there. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't really ever know what to do with it. Because whenever I talk about the length of my vlogs, 75% of the people say they love the long vlogs, 20% of the people say they can't stand the long vlogs, and 5% of the people don't respond. So, I mean, I don't know what to do with it. You know, it's like, to me, that tells me to do the longer vlogs. I mean, and throw in some shorter vlogs for the people that like shorter vlogs. You know, I try to make everybody happy. But, you know, when you ask people for suggestions and then you're unwilling to take it, or you're only willing to take it if it's positive feedback, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to learn, you know? I've commented a lot this month and this last month about a YouTuber that, like, the overriding message that I get from old fans of hers is that every time somebody comes to her, well, okay, so what I do with the statement, I love you, but, is I cross out the I love you, I cross out the but, and I just hear the statement. Because really what they're saying to me is, I really want you to understand this about what I think of you, okay? I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to offend you. This is really a critique moment of you, okay? And wow, isn't that a great thing in life that people can give us those moments and share that with us? And try to do it in a way that it doesn't hurt our feelings. But so many YouTubers get so butthurt over the fact that people critique them in their comment sections or whatever. And this one, you know, YouTuber I've heard, I haven't seen it, I don't know, that every time somebody criticizes her or tells her what to do different, she blocks them, or she just says, you don't know what you're talking about, or whatever. Okay, well, that to me is somebody that does not remain teachable. That to me is somebody that is so closed off from the, you know, the universe that they are never going to learn. And let me just tell you, I would not stick around for the shit show that's going to go down, because their fame and glory will be over within 3 to 5 years. Because they're not willing to grow. It's like a plant that you stop feeding, okay? It's like a plant that you take out of the sunlight and don't give it water. What do you think is going to happen with it? It's not going to grow. For a plant to grow, you have to give it water and keep it in the sunlight. If you don't do that, it's not going to grow. It's the same thing with careers. If you don't feed a career, if you don't remain teachable, the career's not going to grow. You're going to be the same person 5 years down the road, and people are going to be like, why am I still watching this person? You know, there are parts of them that I didn't like then. I don't like any of them now. And then it turns, and that's when you see YouTube, like careers specifically, really turn, okay? And people will say, I haven't changed. I don't know. Yes, but your audience has. And see, that's the problem, okay? You haven't changed, but your audience has. Your audience has grown up. They've become different people. And what used to be funny to them isn't funny to them anymore. They've changed, not you. And so maybe you haven't changed, and maybe that's the problem, and maybe you haven't changed and grown, you know? Or they'll say, all change is good. No, not all change is good. Not all change is good. I have quite a few friends of mine that I used to love back in the day, you know, and they were good for throwing on a t-shirt, a jean jacket, and going to the mall and smoking a cigarette in the car and riding around singing a little bit of American Pie. And baby, they are some pretentious assholes today, and I can't be bothered with them, not for 5 minutes, okay? So don't tell me that all change is good, because I don't believe that, not one bit, you know? Give me a gal with $5 in her pocket, and an adventure in her mind, and a song to sing, and I'd have more fun with her than somebody that's got $10,000 in a wallet and a black credit card any day. I don't care, okay? That kind of change is not good, and people don't see it. Fame and money can really screw somebody up. You all don't think it can? That's what all the kids want. All the kids want fame and glory and money and riches and fame. And what you don't see is it changes you. It totally changes you, you know? And then you gotta have more and more and more, and that's what all this Patreon stuff's about. You know, gotta have a Patreon, so I'm getting all this money and do this and do that. And that's why I haven't been like, when people are like, sell merch, sell merch, sell merch. You know, I'll do the merch, but I'll do it because I know people want to really have that stuff, and I'll make it affordable so anybody can get it, you know? Instead of me filling my wallet so I can go buy shit that I don't already need because I can't get rid of it now, you know? It's so silly, all of it, to me. It just cracks me up. I need a bottle of water so bad, you guys. I think I have one in my backseat of my car here. But like, people don't really, I think, understand sometimes, like, that person just standing right out in the front of the gas station. Oh, it's kind of, shit makes me nervous. But anyway, I'm not going into the gas station. I'm just pulling in here so I can get my bottle of water. Please tell me I have a bottle of water back here. I know I do. I think I just threw it back there. It is so warm. It is like a spring night outside, you guys. Oh, yep, here it is. It is like a spring night outside. But, you know, that's why I think it's always, always, always important regarding hobbies that you would like to potentially turn into being a career someday. You know, whether that's painting or YouTube or singing or writing books or whatever that is, okay? Or cooking or baking or, you know, whatever your hobby is that you'd like to sometime, if you could possibly turn it into a career, I mean, you know, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Make sure that you only do what you love, and you only do it as long as you love it. Because the second that you stop doing what you love, the second that you stop loving it, and you do it because you feel that you have to, it reads all over it. You know, it no longer becomes this creation of passion. It becomes this creation of desperation. It becomes this thing that you have to put out there, you know? If, you know, like, I think people like are like, oh, you wake up late and you go drive around and you do these vlogs. I wake up late and I go around and I do these vlogs because I love to do these vlogs. I love to get on here. I never know what I'm going to talk about. Hell, when I started here, I thought I was going to talk about Sorry, Wrong Number. And I ended up talking about all kinds of things. I never know what I'm going to talk about, you know? And to be really honest with you, sometimes I just pick random vlogs out when I'm driving around of mine from the past, and I play them in the background while I'm driving, not because I'm so infatuated with myself, which I am. I do believe that you should have some self-love, but I don't have that much of it. But I listen to them just to kind of remember like where I was back then and like what I was thinking and all that kind of stuff. You know, and it's interesting like how much my point of view has changed even in just a year. You know what I mean? And like how much my flow has just become even more natural to me in a year. Like the things I worried about in January are not the things I worry about in November. And isn't that fantastic, you know? And I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for the vlog. And I just every day feel so blessed and so grateful, you know, for being able to get up and make these videos. This video is going to stop in a second. I'm at 29 minutes, so let me stop it and restart it. But I just feel so blessed on a daily basis, you know, to like, I'm like sitting in the middle of this intersection. I've got to stop pulling here. But I just feel so blessed to like make videos and stuff. And, you know, a lot of YouTubers say this. When I don't love it anymore, I'll stop doing it or I'll change it up. But they don't, you guys. They don't change it, right? And do you ever watch the YouTuber that you're like, I can totally tell you don't love it anymore? Like, what happened? And then it makes you wonder, like, how long did they really love it? Or why were they pushing it? Or why did they continue it long when they shouldn't have? You know what I mean? Like, lighting is so weird right here. I apologize. But, I mean, there are days that I wake up. There are never days that I wake up that I think I don't want to make videos. There are days that I wake up that I think to myself, I'm really tired today. Who is pulling in behind me? Or is it just the lights off the road? I'm very paranoid tonight. I've been listening to this heart-shaped box by Joe Hill, and it's making me really nervous. But anyway, there are days I wake up, not many though, that I'm like really tired, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had pre-filmed them. And, you know, one of the reasons why, this is where I'm talking about with rethinking my gig, right? When everybody needs to rethink your gig and constantly like be on the, was that I knew I needed a day, okay? I was like, I hadn't like ever, like, I didn't have an hour to myself in the last week between some projects that I'm working on, because the end of the year is always huge for me, right? Most companies do a lot of team building stuff at the end of the year, so I have a lot of projects. I have a book I'm trying to finish. You know, I have another book that I started. And the reality is, if you're like me, the hobby that you love to do, which for me is also writing, I love it, right? And I feel like it's so crazy that my life is consumed with things that I love to do. Like, that's when you need to take a step back and go, okay, you need to be very grateful for what has been handed to you, that you have a life of being able to do what you love. Like, that is amazing on its own, right? And I feel completely blessed with that. But I got really exhausted last week, you know? And so that's why on Sunday, I just took the whole day off. And the day before, I filmed all my videos in my office because I was like, I just want to take the day off tomorrow. I want to go have lunch. I want to go visit my in-laws. And I just want to, like, relax. I don't, like, want to worry about, oh, YouTube is taking too long to upload. It's never the filming of the videos that frustrates me. It's the processing. If I had somebody that could do all that for me, which I ain't that high and mighty, you know? But, you know, do what you love and only do it for as long as you love it. Because once you stop doing it, it reads into what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as like cooking meals. Like, if you cook meals because you love to cook meals and you love to cook for people and bake for people, and then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, for years and years and years, you've loved to make like cupcakes, and then one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm always getting frosting everywhere and it's too expensive and they never like them anyway and they don't appreciate what, I mean, then you've lost sight of what it is you're doing for, right? Then you're doing it for that. You're doing it, and you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And, you know, I think that's where a lot of people get caught up in. This thing that I started because I loved ended up paying my bills. Now I have to pay my bills, and I don't know what I'm gonna do if I don't have this thing to pay my bills. And to me, I kind of wonder, honestly, like, if a lot of these people that are starting these Patreons that are like, I'm just not making the money that I used to. I mean, I joke about it on my channel, but a lot of them, what I would say to them is, I wonder what the universe is telling you. You know, like, I'm a big believer in the universe speaking to us, right? Believe it or not, that's just what I believe. You know, and I'd be like, I wonder what the universe or your higher power or whatever is telling you. Like, is there something to be said in that? Well, what are you talking about? Well, I mean, you know, you were making all this money, now you're not making any money in it, and before, you know, like, I'm not, well, I mean, that's just because of the adpocalypse or, you know, ad whatever. Okay, fine, that may be true, but, like, have you ever thought about the fact that maybe this would open another door for you? Like, maybe go find some other things that you're interested in that might make a lot of money for you, or try a new hobby. You know, you were so good at this hobby for a while that you were so fortunate to live off of it for 10 years. What if you opened the door and tried something else, you know? take what you do on YouTube and do a show and try to take that show on tour maybe, or, you know, put out a full album, or, you know, whatever. I mean, there's so many things that you could do, and it's like, no, I'll just start a Patreon. Okay, well, here's my fear for you, is that in 5 years, when people are like, I don't really like this person, like I said before, because they've changed, not you, and your Patreon just sinks down, and then you've got 3 people paying for your Patreon, and nobody even really cares about your content anymore, and then you're truly screwed, because then you're 40 years old or 45 years old, and you're like, I really cannot go into any kind of company and get a job now. And let me just tell you right now, okay, Starbucks does not give a shit how many views you got on your videos. I'm just telling you right now, they just don't, okay? So they ain't gonna hire you just because you had so many subscribers and followers. They don't care. And I know a lot of YouTubers out there that have hundreds and thousands to millions of subscribers that don't get shit on their videos anymore. They don't get any kind of views in their videos anymore. People change. They weren't willing to recreate themselves. You think I give advice that I'm not going to have to one day sit here and listen to on my own? I know I'm going to have to listen to it. I know one day I'm going to have to be like, okay, baby, the fan ain't working. People don't like these jokes anymore. What are you going to do? You know, like, I mean, I think about it all the time, that my channel needs to maybe go in a more serious direction, you know? Because that's who I think I am. But, like, I like the humor, and I like cheering people up, so I don't want to lose that, you know? Which is why I have 3 other channels I can do whatever the hell I want to do on it. And that is also why I, you know, like, even though I would love to make YouTube my full-time career, I will always have something on the side that can at least pay my bills. Because I'm not stupid, you know what I mean? And it's not because YouTube might not be around forever, it's because I always want to keep that passion alive inside of me, that I'm doing it because I love it. Just like, I make okay money off of my books, but I don't make a sustainable income, and therefore I don't write the books for that. I write them because I want people to read my stories, you know what I mean? That's why I write the books, not because I want to live off my income from my... People have, like, really skewed this idea of why we do things that we love. You know, they were called hobbies back in the day. And not only that, but it's like, okay, I want to do something that I love and I want immediate success. If I'm not uber successful in 3 to 6 months, I'm just going to quit it all. I'm just done. You know, and I'm like, baby, slow and steady wins the race. And do what you love because you love it. Don't do what you love because you think it's going to bring a fortune to you. I mean, there are some of the finest... I mean, have you ever... I have a friend of mine. She makes these cinnamon rolls, okay? These cinnamon rolls should be marketed, boxed, sold in every supermarket in the country and in the world. They are the finest cinnamon rolls. Miss Abby's cinnamon rolls. They're the finest cinnamon rolls you will ever have in your entire life, right? She makes it, she doesn't even eat them herself. She eats like half of one, right? She makes them for everybody else because everybody loves Miss Abby's cinnamon rolls. And they're fantastic. And she doesn't just bring you one. She brings you a box of them, okay? A cardboard box of these things. And ices them herself and I mean, you'd die if you had one. They're so good. She's selling them. God, it must cost her a fortune to make all of them that she makes for all these people. She just does it because she loves it. She puts love into everything she does, and that's what I always want to do on my channel. You know, I always want to put a little bit of love into everything that I do, and do it because I don't know who I'd be or what I'd be if I wasn't doing it. Just like she doesn't know who she'd be if she wasn't making the cinnamon rolls. And the day that it gets stale to me, or it gets old, or I don't enjoy it anymore, I'll figure out something else, you know? It's like, it's okay. I'll change it up a little bit, you know? Add a little sugar, add a little spice. Make the cinnamon rolls a little bigger, make them a little smaller. Mini cinnamon rolls, you know? She does those too, for people that don't like the big cinnamon rolls. See, she changed her gig, and you gotta do that, you know? But she's not doing it to get rich. She's doing it because she loves to do it. It makes her happy, and it makes other people happy. And that's what it should be about. And that's what it should always be about for all of us, you know? And if you're lucky enough to get rich off of it, it's like in that, you know, Paris is Burning, when she's like, you have to shoot an arrow and you aim real high. Good for you. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, if you do something that you love and you're super uber successful over it and you make a lot of money, that's great. But don't let it go to your head, because it ruins a lot of people. Be grateful every moment. Be grateful every moment. And that's a hard thing. I mean, I'm not, you know. I have little post-it notes all over the place, like reminders of gratitude, you know. My first sponsor said to me, every day that you wake up and you're not 6 feet under and you're still breathing is a good day. And I have to really have that kind of attitude in life, you know, that I got to be very, very grateful for my life on a daily basis, that life is a gift. And what am I going to do with this gift today? So, I don't know, but this gift is about to go to bed because I'm tired. So, I love you guys, and so funny, like, where I start on these vlogs and where they end up, isn't it? Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.